I massively underestimated just how long this grind was going to take. Because I thought, like, the rest of it went so fast, but I guess the XP just really doesn't scale here. Or at least doesn't scale as hard as I would have expected from, like, other mini games. Most of them scale extremely well with your level. This one does not seem to do quite as well with that. I think maybe what I'm missing is making combination runes. Maybe like that would massively increase my XP per hour, but like I don't really understand the concept of making combination runes, like how you do it. I think, don't you need like to bring talismans in with you? I don't know. I read about it at one point, but I thought you needed like a talisman of the type, and then also runes of the type. And then that allowed you to make combination runes, but I think you have to have like lunar spells unlocked and use a specific lunar spell as well. And then like having a rune pouch is really nice. It's just, it's a lot of stuff I don't have. So maybe I'll learn about it later and have the stuff to actually do it when I come back and, you know, make death runes or blood runes or whatever later on. I don't know what level blood runes actually are. I don't know how long I'd have to go between deaths and bloods, but probably like 80 or something. Probably something stupidly high, just because it tends to be how RuneScape is. Where it's like, if something is like older, it's usually like way higher than you'd think it is. Like how rune armor is extremely high level to make, but to equip it, it's like way lower. 40 to equip it, but then it's like 99 to make it. Which is completely unnecessary. Kind of makes you wonder why you level smithing. Because like if the best thing you can make from smithing is rune armor, it's like, do I really need it? I think you can also repair Barrow's armor, and it gets cheaper the higher level you have of smithing. I gotta make sure to repair my pouch in between games here. Now we ignore that portal. Hey, crafting level 51. That is why we ignore the portal. Free crafting XP. Total level 975. Fantastic. Oh, I didn't even make it there in time. I tried to quickly go to the close one. Okay, got my XP drop, so I can leave. Come over here. Pause those, take one of those. That button does not actually close my bank. Perfect. Oh, my stomach is grumbling. Fantastic. Grab these. Set that going. Should really say something before I set it going instead of doing it and then saying something. But at the moment, if I'm not completely wrong on how this works, I believe the two viewers are probably me, which means that better to have pre-rolls off than it is to throw an ad in the middle. We're still edging ever closer to when I can cash in all of these rewards and hopefully get a catalytic talisman out of it, because that will save me a lot of headache in the future if I can get one of those. I have yet to I was about to say I have yet to actually need to collect all of the items for Morning's End Part 2, but I've only ever done it once before, so, doesn't really mean much when I say that. Because on my main, I did Guardians of the Rift close to when it came out, and I got a catalytic talisman, and then I had that for being able to... Oh, my timers are off. Being able to do the Morning's End quest when I eventually went and did that. Because I was trying to look for, like, AFK-ish ways to make GP, or, like, sort of not very attention-intensive ways to make GP. This is a really annoying portal. I think I get there in time. Yeah. And one of the ways was... I'm just gonna drop this cell. One of the ways was pickpocketing L's, and so I was like, well, how do I get to Prif Dinis? And it was like, you have to do this quest, which requires all these 70s, which then required a grind for me to get those 70s, and then on top of it, a grind to actually get through the quest, and that was a whole mess in and of itself. And I barely remember any of it. But technically I have completed Song of the Elves before. It was probably like my, I'd say, biggest achievement on this game so far. Is doing that on an actual live account, but it was a main, so it like barely counts because I just kind of bought everything that I needed. And then it was not worth it because I found that I really did not enjoy pickpocketing elves whatsoever. The whole having to maintain is like you have to maintain this spell that you get from the Arceus spellbook, and like you wanted to have these other items as well, and I couldn't be bothered. I very quickly got to the point where I was like, look, I've already had to put so much effort into getting here, I don't really want to do this. Let's just go with Mind Runes, why not? I mean... Oh, this altar is actually surprisingly far away. But I don't need air runes, so might as well make Mind Runes. I think it's probably slightly, ever so slightly higher XP. Why are there so many enemies? Do we just have, like, really low-level guardians or something? Like, we have 10 guardians, but... a lot of enemies hitting those barriers. Which is good, to be honest. Nice having enemies hitting the barriers, because it means that you always get XP when you hand in your cells to the barriers. Earth runes. I do not know why I am so far behind on Essence, or why I thought that the Earth Altar was down to the bottom left. Yeah, they're like blasting those barriers. The barriers will essentially never go down once they are high enough level. Like, once they are these overcharged or overpowered cells, these barriers will essentially never go down, because they have, like, over 200 health, and the enemies hit them at, like, max for 1 or 2. And every time someone hands in another overcharged cell, it's like, it heals like 100. You could straight up not have any guardians once you have those barriers up, and they will last you just about the entire time. I don't think it's possible for one of these to drop once it's a fully healed overcharged. I could be wrong, I've never seen people try and just ignore them, but... like, there's definitely ways to sort of min-max a minigame like this, but it just never really happens because it's a mass world, and people don't do that kind of thing on mass worlds, right? You don't get fancy strats on mass worlds. On mass worlds, you get everyone kind of does whatever gives them the most XP. Go. Claw runes. I don't think we can actually use that mine. Just gonna go through and sit there. Sit there and wait. Just gonna run an ad quick while we wait. Was that a full 9? I think that was a full 9. It was like 5 and then 4. Problem with trying to do it when you're on such a small inventory. Well, I usually let it fill up a little bit more before I start filling up my bags. And we're looking at around 1.5 levels left here. What do we get to start off with today? Water runes, fantastic. Like, I think if I was doing combination runes, right, like I'd get a lot more XP from handing runes in here. I don't know how much. But like if I had made... What even are the water plus fire runes? There's lava runes, right? Why am I crafting those? Stop that. There's lava runes, which are fire and earth. Smoke. Smoke runes? Is that air and fire? Mist, I think, is air and water. What the heck is water and fire? Steam? Is steam a thing? Pretty sure there's mist and then there's also steam. If there's mist and steam, then it's probably one of those two, right? Probably steam. So that doesn't make any sense. Because steam sounds like air and fire. Oh, did this one not work? Yeah. Okay. I might get to the fire in time. Yeah, just barely. Not sure if I wanted to, though. I could have made some law runes. Oh, steam is water and fire. Okay, so I did get it right. It just, for some reason, my mind was like... You know, smoke runes are air and fire. And steam is water and fire. It's just steam to me still seems like an air thing. Oh. And the gap just isn't closing at all, is it, between elemental and catalytic? I mean, it makes sense. When it's 4 and 4, and 2 of the catalytics I actually want to make, and 2 of them I don't. Wait, no. That's not right. That's not right at all. It's 6 and 4. So actually the gap should be closing, but it just isn't because of RNG. Because there are 4 that I want to make that are actually higher tier than the elementals, and 4 that are lower tier. Not 4 that are lower tier, rather 2 that are lower tier. But like, I want to make cosmics, chaos, natures, and laws. I don't want to make mind and body. So you'd expect the gap to be closing a bit, but I just keep making elemental runes because, excuse me, it keeps being unlucky. I guess, no, I guess technically it could be considered 4 and 4. If you're really going to be technical with it. Because, like, it could also land on either blood or death, and I can't make those. So it still means that, like, 50% of the time, I am going to want to make, or I am going to have to make the elemental runes. And then 50% of the time, I can make the catalytic runes that I want. but this is one of those grinds that eventually is going to help me out in the long run. But right now it just feels slow. Because it's like, eventually I'm going to get to the point where it's like, I just need runes, and I'm just going to have them around. Like, I won't need to go and get myself runes of whatever it is that I need, because I'll just have some spare lying around, and I'll never have to think about them again. Like, in the long run, it is going to help. But right now, it just feels like a massive grind. Especially because, like, most of these runes are buyable, right? And are generally cheap. Like, half the runes I'm making, I just could just buy more than enough to actually need. Or than I would actually need. Let's just craft, because there's only 9% left. It's a little awkward. I hope I didn't just waste pouch charges there. There we go. Oh, that's the other thing, isn't it? I just clued in here. The Abyssal Lantern. I completely forgot that thing existed. The Abyssal Lantern, if you get it and you have it lit, I think it takes up an offhand slot? I can't entirely remember. But if you have it lit with, like, redwood logs, then it doesn't... Like, your pouches don't degrade? Do I understand that right? And if your pouches don't degrade... then you don't have to deal with, like, caring about whether you've accidentally filled your pouch up when you don't need to, that kind of stuff. But I think I'm... yeah, so my fire making level would be high enough, because I've already got 99 fire making, but my wood cutting wouldn't be high enough to actually get me a redwood log. So I need 90 redwood, not 90 redwood, 90 wood cutting. Be able to get redwood logs, which would then make it so that I don't need to use my pearls repairing my pouches or anything like that. So realistically, but that's a long grind. 72 to 90 wood cutting, like, that's a long grind. I wonder how many redwood logs I would need, like, if you only have to light the lantern once, or if you have to light it multiple times, so you need, like, a stockpile of redwood logs. I don't know, because, like, if you only need a couple redwood logs, you could boost, right? You could get to, like, 85 and then boost. But if you need multiple redwood logs, you'd want to be 90 so that you can keep getting more, and you can get, like, a stockpile saved up. And the wood cutting? The wood cutting grind is pretty rough as well, right? Because you need to get your wood cutting up through, I guess, forestry now. Which isn't too bad. Like, forestry can get you some pretty good XP numbers, but it's not super fun. Like, old woodcutting was AFK. New woodcutting, like, I feel like I can't do anything else while I'm doing forestry, because forestry is just so RNG as to what event happens that, like, or when the event happens, that, like, if you're doing something else, you have to just drop what you're doing and do the forestry event, which, like, if you're doing something that, you know, maybe like a league game, or maybe, I don't know, like WoW or something along those lines, like, sometimes you can't just stop and just do the event, right? You need to keep playing, and it's really awkward, at least to me. I guess you could still have the option of the AFK side of things, right? Like, you could just go to the Woodcutting Guild in Korend, and why did I think that that was still going? I can just go to this one. But it's just, like, it's one of those things where, like, you know that a better option exists, right? Like, there is clearly a better option. Please stop being so slow. The heck? Like, you know a better option exists in forestry. That's kind of just better in every way. And so doing the Woodcutting Guild just feels a bit eh. Can I get in this before it disappears? I feel cheated on that one. I actually do feel cheated on that one. It's fine. It's just that, like, I missed the extra inventory slot and I didn't even get to make the law runes. But oh well. I just feel like I got there in time. Earth runes. I'm still, like, pretty consistently getting more elemental energy and catalytic energy. This isn't gonna catch up for quite a while. Like, I basically need to... Okay. This guy and his stupid animation. I pretty much need to unlock death runes before I start making more catalytic than elemental points. So I'm probably just gonna be sitting here with the super unsatisfying 50 more catalytic or elemental energy than catalytic energy. When I eventually get to the point where I can actually even them out, it's gonna feel real good. Real good. My words aren't working properly at this point. I'm going for too long. I haven't even been talking constantly like I have some other days. This guy, just doing that animation at complete random, like... If his click box didn't move with it, I wouldn't care as much, but the fact that it moves and covers up, like, the entirety of where you're trying to click really screws with you. Alright, we're looking at... about an hour and 15 to go, probably. Maybe less than that, because This run's already halfway over, and we'll get the ending XP. I also want to work out where exactly to get a dragon pickaxe that wouldn't be too rough on me. Because getting a dragon pickaxe means unlocking essentially that extra sort of like half-tick mine. Like all the other pickaxes, I think, mine at the same timing. So it's like every few ticks, there's a chance that you get something. But I think the dragon pick specifically, and maybe every pick like of dragon level and above, has the extra like half tick in there. Like there's a point where, you know, let's say every 2 ticks with a normal pickaxe you have a chance to get something. With the dragon pickaxe, it's like every 1 tick there's like a little extra chance to get something. At least that's how I've understood it. Because I remember doing Guardians of the Rift on my main at one point, and I had a dragon pick or like an infernal pick or something like that. And I was mining, and for some reason the timings were just weird. And I couldn't do like the in-between click. Like where I'm clicking the bags in between my mining ticks. I couldn't do that because sometimes I just get extra essence like in between those ticks and didn't understand why. I'm pretty sure the dragon pickaxe is the reason for that, where it can just like give you stuff in between your usual mining ticks. Like we get some chaos runes at the end. And we even get to hand it in. Nice. Probably don't get enough time for this cell, do we? Hey, we do. That extra 100 XP, why not? And then Big Boss Man's gonna give us like an extra 9%. Perfect. And now we chill. Getting real close to being able to cash these rewards in. That's gonna feel great. Great. Cosmic Altar is just meant to throw you off, I swear. Because every time you come in here, it just pops you out of one of these random directions. Oh my god. Oh, it's fine. Intentional. Oh. Come on now. Misclicks are fine as long as you do it in between ticks. As long as the game doesn't have enough time to register that you failed to click, you're good. I almost wonder if I should just, like, if I pop out like that, I should just go into the body altar because of the time save. We got... Okay. Mind runes it is. Cells are so sad. The weak cells when you hand them in and all you get is 30 XP. When you know, like, if you had gotten an overcharged or an overpowered cell, it would be like, say, like what, 8 times the XP? Almost 9? It's really odd, because I'd think at my current mining level, I'd get consistently... I'm pretty much at, like, what, 80 or so. I'm at around 78. I'd get consistently, like, 5 essence when I mine, but it still seems to be pretty consistently 4. I don't know if the mining level just increases the chance of mining rather than the amount you mine, but I could have sworn it was the amount you mine that changes based on your mining level. Like, look at how many zeros you see on this thing. Like, I almost feel like they should be guaranteed to hit. The problem is if they were guaranteed to hit, you'd probably get a lot more failed runs because just people don't like heal up the barrier right away, or don't make enough guardians to actually stop them from hitting constantly at the very beginning. But later on, like, it just becomes a joke, right? Like, you could pretty much set up this original barrier and then just AFK the rest of the game and not lose. It just feels like a lack of XP. Or, not a lack of XP, but, you know, a, waste of XP, I guess. Why does it... I have such a problem with that. I expect it to take my next click right away after I do that, but it just doesn't. Oh, and there goes my pouch. So I'm gonna hit 64 and also get my pouch repaired this run. Which means what I'll probably do is just, after repairing my pouch this time, just go all the way to 65 without repairing it. Because it probably won't be worth it if I'm just going to 65 anyway. I only have 4 more fragments, which means I'm pretty much just waiting on the portal at this point. And then once I get that, I should just be able to make 1 more set of runes. There it is. Here it is, just because I'm right here and the Guardian's almost filled up. There it is. So hopefully, there's 64, nice. 64 rune crafting. Hopefully I can quickly hand these in. Yeah, that sucks. That was an overpowered cell, so I would have gotten quite a bit from handing that in, but oh well. Put out here. Grab 1 pearl. And we're back in. Take this. Repair with you. Like, even when there isn't a whole bunch of other people, it's still awkward repairing your pouches because these guys can walk on top of each other. Instead of being static. Alright, we just got this one last level. Just 40k XP. Gonna take around an hour. I could have sworn there was like a exclamation mark. Like, I thought one of the default commands for Nightbot was live. So it just says how long you've been live for. But that doesn't appear to be a thing. Oh, exclamation mark uptime, I think is the what I'm looking for. Oh, jeez. I don't know, there's a couple little quality of life things that I'd kind of like to see to this minigame, but I don't know, it's new enough that to me it's kind of weird that the quality of life stuff isn't there. But it's also like, this entire game is built on such old stuff that it's... I'm just gonna go here. It's built on such old stuff that it's hard to really blame them for not having basic kind of quality of life stuff. Like, if you go to hand in a cell and someone else hands in the cell, and like it changes the tile, like there's nothing they can do about that, right? Like that is going to stop you from handing it in every time with just the way the game is made. But like whether or not you gain XP based on the barrier being at full health, that I think is something that they could actually mess with. Like, I don't know, because it almost feels like an anti-botting measure, but at the same time, it's like, it's not really. Like, it's not enough XP or anything to actually be a relevant anti-botting measure. Because, like, you can see, even with me just doing this normally, like, every time I hand in a cell, I just go to this top one. And the reason I do that is because there's always enemies hitting this one, right? Like, the enemies always go to the same barrier, and so that's why I always go to the same barrier to hand in the cell. So, like, bots will just do the same thing. They'll just always go to the same one. So, at least in my opinion, it doesn't really serve as an anti-botting measure. And then the other thing for me is, like, the player cap on a world just seems odd. Like, it being 200 just seems really awkward when you're trying to get into a game and it's like, oh, I can't get in, and then you're stuck there waiting at the door for, like, I don't know, up to 10 minutes or more. It's just a weird one. Because, like, none of the other mini games are really like that, right? You can kind of just join into a new one whenever, or you can join into a currently active one whenever. But this one specifically has, like, this timer on it where you cannot get in and you can't start a new one unless you world hop. It's just, I don't know. Maybe if someone could explain to me the reasoning behind it, I'd understand it a bit more, but as is, I'm like, why? But why, though? Good. I thought I accidentally clicked him because he started his animation, but we're all good. Try and snag a few extra fragments here before the portal spawns. And I'm gonna get that one more inventory. But I'm gonna have to wait for the last portal again and hope that we don't overshoot. No XP. Feels bad. Well, let's just go in here. So it turns out like, the way I remembered these altars is slightly off. The body altar is actually really close. It's actually the mind altar that's fairly far away. I could just use the body altar whenever it's up if I feel like it, and I don't want to run across the room. Really, I should have just gone to the earth altar right there, because at this point, like, I have to wait for this portal anyway, and I don't have enough fragments for it to really matter. So I could have just gotten the extra XP. There's the portal. I don't actually even know if I'll be able to hand in another set. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, he's fully charged. So I'll only take the small pouch, that way I don't degrade the other pouches. I'll just take it to the nature altar. Maybe later. Don't think that was my genie, but... Can that actually happen? Can you get a random event that spawns while you are, like, doing Guardians of the Rift, but you're in an altar? Like, you're in one of the Guardians of the Rift altars, and you just get a random event spawn on you. It just instantly disappears because you go back into the minigame. I really don't know. I assume not, because the game still registers you as being in a minigame, right? Even when you're in the altar, like, it still registers you as being in Guardians of the Rift. I wonder if you can even get a random event in an altar to begin with. And that's why that genie was disappearing, was because someone went into the altar. Not sure on that. I'm starting to flag a little bit, though. My throat's starting to hurt. I'm so close to this 65 that I just want to get it done today, though. So I'm probably just gonna tough it out until I get to 65. Looks like it is still going to take that extra, like, 45 minutes. I was really hoping that it wouldn't take this long. I thought that the XP per hour would increase substantially with levels going out, but it doesn't seem to be changing much at all.